the Buccaneers have found a secret weapon, something to be really excited about, even after an unfortunate loss against the Eagles. A lot of positives, particularly on the defensive side, things that maybe other teams haven't really been paying attention to much because these guys are going underappreciated in some stats that will tell you a lot about what the Buccaneers are doing on defense. That is pretty exciting. I'm Sebastian with the Buccaneers Digest. I really am excited to talk about this stuff just because overall I like to find little stories, little nuggets that maybe seem like they're not getting a ton of media presence or media attention, and that might end up coming in use for the Buccaneers down the line. So we can all say, "Hey, we were there first. We called that," and that's gonna be what we're doing it today. But subscribe, make sure that you're doing all that good stuff. Like, comment. It helps the channel out. It really is useful. And we'll be doing a stream this Sunday. The game's at 4:05 p.m. on Eastern time against the Seattle Seahawks. It'll be in Seattle. We'll be back to the white creamsicles versus their throwback. So it's going to be a gorgeous looking uniform matchup. I cannot wait for that. But let's just jump right into it because there is a lot to talk about in general. So first thing I kind of want to break down to set the stage a little bit. Joshua Quibble from Pewter Report had to say the Bucs gave up 31 points to the Eagles. That looks like a lot and therefore gives one at first blush a negative feeling about their defense. But look closer. 7 points came on a blocked punt return for a touchdown. Another 7 came from a short porch Philadelphia inherited after a Bucky Irving fumble. And I will keep saying this, it was not a fumble, even though every time people refer it, and it did go on the stat sheet as a fumble, it was not a fumble. Outside of those 2 touchdowns, Tampa Bay's defense allowed just 17 points on 10 drives. Expanding to the season as a whole, the defense has now allowed just 77 points over 42 drives. That's 1.83 points per drive. That's a 12% improvement over last year and would have them ranked in the top 10 based on how teams finished in 2024. I love this. I think that this is exactly what the Buccaneers really need to be taking in stride. They didn't start out as hot as they wanted to, as they have in previous games. The Jets in particular, they were doing a really good job. It's so frustrating watching a team score on. I get it, scripted plays, scripted drives. They will end up in scores more often than not, and that's just how it goes across the league. But I want us to be able to get like a 3-and-out or a turnover on a team's first drive to really demoralize their offense as quickly as possible and not just wind into it. But it really feels like Todd Bowles' defense is more about a psychological aspect where we're figuring out what they're doing early and start neutralizing those aspects really quickly. And we saw that in effect with the Eagles. It took us a little longer just because they did score 17 points. After the blocked kick for a touchdown, they had 24 by the end of the half. And so it was not looking good for the defense, and then the defense stepped it and took it to another level in the second half. So it proved to us that we can take care of these guys as long as we have Benjamin Morrison and Jacob Parrish, who, trust me, we'll be talking about as these secret weapons that people aren't really looking at just yet. There's not much national conversation around them, but Bucs fans know these guys are special, and they have a chance to be an elite corner duo, and just another tip of the cap to the front staff and Jason Licht for drafting these guys in the second and third rounds. But overall, I think that there is a lot of frustration with Todd Bowles and the way he's been coaching and managing games in the past. I think this, so far through 4 games, is easily his best coached season so far with the Buccaneers. Now we only have a sample size of 4 games, but I've just seen a lot of improvements and a lot of patience and also a lot of aggressiveness in certain areas in terms of play calling, but patience with time and using their timeouts more effectively. So overall, I'm really, really excited about that. And just defensively, he seems to be on the ball about figuring out what the other team is doing and adjusting to it. And that came around here with the Eagles, where it felt like they couldn't be stopped in the first half. And in the second half, everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked. Just kidding. But Todd himself, he had a lot of things to say just regarding how the defense performed. He said that we stopped making the mistakes that we made in the first drive, and you know that those were day one things that we can't have. That's probably started the last 4 games for us on defense, and then we start playing after that. So after that, we were fine, and they settled down and played ball. We've got to start the game like that. We can't just pick it up as it goes. So, Bowles overall is very, hard on himself in the way he coaches his defense. But he's right, and this has been an emphasis both on offense and defensively. We both have to start off firing out of the gates. We can't be constantly playing catch up, because that's what gets us in these tight games down the stretch. If we come out just knowing the way that we can play, how we've proven we can play, with just the best of the best, and this so. I think that this is a Super Bowl team. I think that this team has what it takes, but they have to be able to start games faster. You see what the Eagles did in the playoffs last year. I think every single playoff game, they started off with like a touchdown drive or something. Their defense was coming out on fire, and they made the other teams really have to adjust to their tempo, to their speed, to their physicality. And so us setting the tone early has to be an objective, both offense and defense, because we've come out and scored on the touchdown on our first drive. We did that against the Texans. We scored on our first 2 drives, but defensively, they struggled a bit until they found their footing. We need both sides, and this includes special teams, so all 3 phases to really be coming out swinging. And you can't really do it one way or another, one without the other, I should say. If you don't have a good special teams unit, you will fail. We saw that with the Packers back in 2021. They thought they had the best team by far, and special teams, screwed them over in that snow game against the Niners. So it's just, and also Aaron Rodgers didn't play very well, but that's a good example though of like ignoring a problem because the rest of your team is really good. We cannot ignore this because we saw firsthand here that, we're spotting teams back-to-back weeks with 7 points based off of blocked kicks and punts. And that's just unacceptable. And they know it. They're going to be working on stuff. They did bring in a new punter this week to try him out. At least we'll see if he ends up starting this upcoming week instead of Nixon. But, things are up in the air. But we're talking about the defense right now. And I want to keep talking about the defense. Regarding just the draft class that Jason Licht has done this year, I just kind of want to do a little bit of a put it in perspective, I should say. John Leonard had to say just an absurd draft class from the Bucs, and that we put together once again. Emeka Egbuka is leading the Offensive Rookie of the Year conversation. Jacob Parrish is one of the best defensive rookies in the NFL. Benjamin Morrison has looked great in coverage in just the limited snaps he's been getting. Elijah Roberts has been outstanding, and then Tez Johnson looks good as well. Obviously, he got his first catch against the Eagles, but he does it. He's as small as he is. He's shifty. It can make guys miss. But regarding Benjamin Morrison, because I really want to talk about BMO and Jacob Parrish. But Morrison, rookie cornerback Benjamin Morrison, who was inactive in week 1 and then played a total of 31 snaps in weeks 2 and 3, saw an uptick in his playing time in week 4 with 39 snaps on defense. While he had been occasionally subbing in for Jamal Dean at one of the outside corner spots, he took over the main job against Philadelphia when Dean left the game with an injury after 14 snaps. Morrison tallied 3 tackles and a pass defense before. So like a block, basically, before he left the game too late with an injury. And that pass deflection was against A.J. Brown one-on-one in coverage, so very impressive stuff. They also shout out Yaya Diaby, just the way that he's been able to get pressure in the past few weeks. He's really been upping his ability to rush that, which has been really exciting. And so just regarding Jacob Parrish, though, he is currently the 3rd ranked corner in the league according to PFF. Now, I know not everyone treats PFF like gospel, but I do. I think that there's a lot, or not, I don't treat it like gospel, but I think that there's a lot of things to analyze from this. And the fact that he's been doing this well in coverage is just outstanding. He's a rookie. I do think that there's a chance if he gets some splash plays like sacks and interceptions, because he has 1 sack, I believe, that he will have the chance to be a defensive rookie of the year as well. And we talked about that recently, but also I do think it's on the board that these guys are just really, really adapting to the NFL quickly, just like Egbuka is on the offense. These just mentally, it seems like they're really in the right spot. It's just about limiting injuries at this point. We need Parrish to stay healthy. Benjamin Morrison, what left that game with an injury. We also have an update on him actually as well in terms of where he's at. Greg Allman posted that Bucs are still waiting on MRIs on multiple new injuries, but it looks like rookie corner Benjamin Morrison has avoided any long-term absence with his hamstring injury. Good news at key position. And Bowles did hint at the fact that they would be able to that Morrison would be able to possibly play this week. So that's really exciting because his injury basically kept him out entirely of training camp and preseason, and so we were all worried, okay, how much of a learning curve is there going to be? And then he showed what he could do these past few weeks, and especially against the Eagles, he really stepped up against AJ Brown and making him frustrated and posting cryptic tweets afterwards. You love when you got your young corners doing that to establish veterans, one of the best receivers in the league. But yeah, and then there's Parrish, who I can't say enough about him. I think just his ability to get to the ball and squeeze through defenders, squeeze through blocks, I think is nothing short of sensational work from him. I do kind of. Sorry about that. Sorry about the little quietness there. There wasn't any audio for the that little brief stint with the Parrish highlights. But overall, it was really exciting. He almost had his first interception, but he was flying around the ball. His play recognition skills are outstanding. This guy clearly studies his film and is just really has great energy, great breaking speed, and just gets once the snap is snapped or once the ball is snapped, he is just right around the corner, waiting for a play to come near him so he can make a play. And I just think he was outstanding, covering Devontae Smith and AJ Brown whenever he was asked to. There's a chance, we'll see. Regarding injuries, he might still be at the nickel position against the Seahawks, but I still think, they can play him, plug and play him anywhere. And I am excited to see what they do with him, because I think that there's just the sky's the limit. We needed this. We needed a corner that we can be excited about, that has just like untapped, unlimited potential. And both Benjamin Morrison and Parrish have shown great strides in just how they've developed already thus far. And I just really can't say enough about these guys. I'm really excited. But then, so going forward, I do think this is an important statistic to note, is that Todd Bowles, in his first 4 games of a season with the Buccaneers, so this is 4 seasons and the first 4 games, he's 11-5. So he does a really good job of winning in the first 4 weeks. But then Todd Bowles, in the following 4 games, so games 5 through 8 with the Buccaneers, he's 2-10. So it is time for Todd and this team to change the narrative. And once again, it feels like the schedule makers, they give us the same schedule over and over, but we need to really be able to make a stamp here. We can't just allow the midseason slump to become a norm for us, or another curse in the Todd Bowles era. We have hard games. Once again, we're going against a 3-1 Seattle team that has really looked very promising and healthy and good. Then we're going to be faced the Niners. They flexed that game up to 4 o'clock because they know that people are going to want to watch that game. And then we're going to have the Lions on Monday Night Football. It doesn't get much easier. And then we'll be playing the Bills down the road. But that stretch of 3 games is not going to be easy. Just because we have easier games down the road does not mean that we can just take it easy. We don't want to have a losing record. Like if we lose all 3 of these games, we'll be 3-4. And which would just be unacceptable. And Todd knows this. They're all aware of this stuff, but being aware isn't enough. And Jason Licht has put together a great squad and a very deep, talented squad that they keep talking about it. Baker was talking about how, and Lavonte was talking about how they are too talented to let this stuff keep happening. Like where they get behind and have to play catch up, or just they're not starting out fast. They're not starting out with the right energy. So regarding just how they need to change how they approach the game, starting out fast and the right way. They can be saying all the right things in the locker room, but physically, can they get ready? Can they push themselves to be playing at the level they are in the second half of games and all of that? So that's really what I'm interested to see, how the Bucs can bounce off of this. They can't just be satisfied. We had the a close game against the Eagles. I don't think that they feel that way. They feel like they should have won that game, and I agree that a bad call for the fumble, the blocked punt, all these things are very unfortunate or just fixable mistakes. Isn't just like our defense got like completely blown off their heels the entire game. No, that's not what happened at all. We have really good young guys who are making plays, but we just got to cause more turnovers. We lost the turnover battle against the Eagles, and that equaled into a loss. And so the Bucs as a defense, they're not, obviously I don't think they're listening to this, but I would like to challenge the Bucs defense to cause some turnovers, make Sam Darnold see some ghosts. He said that in the past. Bring back the old Jets Sam Darnold this week and make sure that he feels uncomfortable and is just not ready for what the Bucs have to offer. So anyway, question is for you guys. What are you excited about? What are you looking for with the Bucs defense this upcoming week? Do you want to see more play out of the pass rush? Do you want to see more stuff from the corners and safeties? Defensively, would you like us to just see us come out strong and not allow points on the first drive? Obviously, we all know that we want the special teams fixed, so that goes without saying. But specifically, which play are you looking for? Do you think that both Benjamin Morrison and Jacob Parrish have chances to reach the heights of some of the best corners that we've had in a while? How excited are you about these guys? Do you think I'm overhyping them? Just all these questions. Feel free to let me know in the comments below where you're at with these players, where you are with Todd Bowles and his defense, because I actually think that, like we talked before, they're actually doing a good job defensively. They've made a lot of really good stops. They're just not turning the ball over. If they turn the ball over some more, I really think that this defense has a chance to be just another special group. Not obviously like a historic group, but they can be a Super Bowl winning defense if they just play their cards right. So looking forward to seeing them perform again against Seattle. I would consider this a must-win game, but maybe people will disagree. But we can't take any game lightly. This is just the midseason slump cannot happen again. It's just a big no-no. Let's get a win. And until then, though, or not until then, I will, we'll keep talking about injury updates and everything as we go along this week. But in the meantime, I'll see you in the next video.